Cultivating Mental Wellness, the three seeds of positive energy. Welcome to the BlackCEO Podcast. Today, we're diving into a topic that's not just important, but potentially life-changing. We're exploring the power of positive energy and its profound impact on mental wellness. And let me tell you, we're in for a treat. I recently had the incredible privilege of interviewing Sherita Moham, a true visionary in the field of mental health and positive psychology. Sherita's work isn't just groundbreaking, it's transforming lives and communities. Her approach to mental wellness is like a breath of fresh air in a world that often feels suffocating. She's not just talking about change, she's actively cultivating it, one person at a time. Sherita's impact on making the world a better place is nothing short of extraordinary. And I can't wait to share her insights with you. Now, picture this. You're standing in front of a vast empty field. In your hand, you hold three tiny seeds. They seem insignificant, almost laughably small, but here's the kicker. These aren't just any seeds. These are the seeds of positive energy, and they have the power to transform that barren field into a lush, vibrant garden of mental wellness. Sounds a bit far-fetched there, doesn't it? I mean, come on, how can something so small make such a big difference? Well, my friends, prepare to have your minds blown because that's exactly what we're going to explore today. Sherita introduced me to this beautifully simple yet profoundly impactful concept, sowing three seeds of positive energy each day. Now, I know what you're thinking. 3 seeds, that's it? What is this gardening for ants? But trust me, these tiny seeds pack a punch that would make even the Hulk sit up and take notice. Let's break it down. The first seed is to do something nice. The second is to say something nice. And the third is to think something nice. Simple, right? Almost too simple. But here's where it gets interesting. It's not about grand gestures or life-altering actions. It's about small daily habits that, over time, can reshape your entire mental landscape. Now, I can almost hear some of you skeptics out there. Come on, you're thinking, how can saying something nice once a day really make a difference? Well, let me tell you a little story about the power of positive words. Meet Tom. Tom was your typical office worker, trudging through his 9 to 5, feeling increasingly drained and disconnected. One day, on a whim, or maybe it was desperation, he decided to try this say something nice thing. He complimented his coworker on her presentation skills. No big deal, right? But here's what happened. His coworker smiled, genuinely touched. That smile lifted Tom's mood. He felt good about making someone else feel good, and you know what? He wanted to do it again. Fast forward a month, and Tom's office nickname had changed from Grumpy Tom to Sunshine. His simple daily practice of saying something nice had not only lifted the spirits of those around him, but had fundamentally shifted his own outlook on life. He found himself noticing more positive things, feeling more connected to his colleagues, and, get this, actually looking forward to coming to work. I know, it sounds like the plot of a cheesy motivational poster, but stick with me here. That's the power of just one of these seeds. Imagine what could happen if you planted all 3 every single day. It's like compound interest for your mental health. Small deposits consistently made, yielding exponential returns over time. But here's where it gets really interesting. Sherita emphasized that while these daily practices are crucial, they're not the whole picture. She stressed the importance of seeking professional help for mental health issues. And this, my friends, is where many of us stumble. We live in a world where it's perfectly acceptable, encouraged even, to see a doctor for a physical checkup. We go to the dentist twice a year without a second thought. But when it comes to our mental health, suddenly we're hesitant. There's still this lingering stigma, this idea that seeking help for our mental well-being is somehow a sign of weakness. Let me be clear, it's not. In fact, it's one of the strongest, bravest things you can do. It's like being the hero in your own mental health movie. You're not waiting for someone to save you. You're taking the initiative to save yourself. Think about it this way. If you had a persistent cough that wouldn't go away, would you just ignore it and hope it gets better on its own? Of course not. You go see a doctor. So why do we treat our mental health any differently? Is it because we can't see it, because there's no visible wound or rash? Or is it because we've been conditioned to believe that mental struggles are somehow less valid than physical ones? This brings me to a powerful story that Sherita shared with me. It's about the importance of mental health support, particularly in the Black community. Many individuals in our community face significant barriers when it comes to accessing mental health services. There's often a cultural stigma, a lack of resources, or distrust of the healthcare system rooted in historical injustices. But here's the thing. When we overcome these barriers and seek help, the outcomes can be life-changing. Sharita told me about a young woman. Let's call her Maya. Maya had been struggling with anxiety and depression for years, but she'd always brushed it off, telling herself to stay strong and push through. Sound familiar? I bet many of you have heard those same words either from others or from that nagging voice in your own head. It wasn't until Maya hit a breaking point, unable to get out of bed, her work and relationships suffering, that she finally reached out for help. And you know what? That decision to seek professional support was the turning point in her life. With the help of therapy and medication, Maya not only recovered but thrived. She found new coping mechanisms, gained insights into her thought patterns, and developed a toolkit for managing her mental health. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. That's great for Maya, but my situation is different. Or maybe I don't have the time or money for therapy. I hear you, but here's the thing. Maya's story isn't unique. Countless individuals have found that seeking professional help was the key to unlocking a healthier, happier life. And there are often more resources available than we realize. Sliding scale fees, community health centers, online therapy options. The first step is often the hardest, but it's also the most important. But here's the real kicker. Maya's journey didn't just impact her. By openly sharing her experience, she inspired others in her community to seek help too. She became a catalyst for change, breaking down stigmas and opening up conversations about mental health. It's like she planted a seed of her own, and that seed grew into a support network that benefited not just her, but her entire community. This is why Sharita is so passionate about promoting professional mental health support. It's not just about individual well-being. It's about creating a ripple effect that can transform entire communities. It's about changing the narrative around mental health, especially in communities where these conversations have long been taboo. Now, let's circle back to our three seeds of positivity because they tie into this beautifully. When we make a habit of doing something nice, saying something nice, and thinking something nice each day, we're not just improving our own mental state, we're creating an environment where it's okay to talk about mental health. We're nurturing a culture of kindness and support that makes it easier for people to reach out when they need help. But here's the million-dollar question. How do we actually incorporate these practices into our daily lives? I mean, let's be real. We're all busy. We've got jobs, families, responsibilities. Some days it feels like we barely have time to breathe, let alone plant seeds of positivity. How do we find the time to nurture our mental garden when we're just trying to keep our heads above water? Well, that's where another fascinating insight from Sharita comes in, the power of morning routines. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, great, another person telling me I need to wake up at 5 a.m. and do yoga while sipping green juice and journaling about my dreams. But hear me out, because this isn't about drastic lifestyle changes. It's about small, manageable tweaks that can have a big impact. Let me introduce you to Sarah, a busy mom and entrepreneur. Sarah used to start her days in a frenzy, rushing to get the kids ready for school, scarfing down a quick breakfast, if she ate at all, and diving straight into work or emails. By mid-morning, she was already feeling frazzled and drained. Sound familiar? I bet many of you can relate to that morning chaos. Then Sarah decided to try something different. She set her alarm just 15 minutes earlier and used that time for herself. She started with a quick, healthy breakfast, nothing fancy, just some fruit and yogurt. While eating, she'd think of one nice thing she wanted to do that day. That's seed number one. Then she'd send a quick text to a friend or family member with a compliment or word of encouragement. There's seed number two. Finally, before diving into her day, she'd take a moment to think of something she was grateful for. And just like that, she planted all three seeds before 8 a.m. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's it? 15 minutes and some fruit? But here's where it gets interesting. The results were remarkable. Sarah found that starting her day with these small, positive actions set the tone for everything that followed. She felt more centered, more in control. Her energy levels improved, and she found herself better equipped to handle the inevitable stresses of her day. But here's the really cool part. Sarah's new morning routine didn't just benefit her. Her kids noticed the change in her demeanor and started mimicking her positive habits. Her employees picked up on her more positive energy, leading to a better work environment. Without even realizing it, Sarah had become a catalyst for positive change in her home and workplace. It's like she was spreading seeds of positivity without even trying. This story illustrates a crucial point that Sherita emphasized. Consistency is key. It's not about making huge, sweeping changes overnight. It's about small daily habits that, over time, can lead to significant improvements in mental health and overall well being. It's like compound interest for your mental health. Small deposits made consistently, yielding big returns over time. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, yeah, that's great for Sarah, but my mornings are absolute chaos. There's no way I can do that. And you know what? That's okay. The beauty of these three seeds is that you can plant them anytime, anywhere. Maybe for you, it's taking 5 minutes during your lunch break to send an encouraging email to a colleague that's doing and saying something nice in one go. Maybe it's making a mental note of three things you're grateful for while you're stuck in traffic. There's your positive thought for the day. The specifics don't matter as much as the consistency. But let's talk about another aspect of mental wellness that Sharita highlighted: the importance of structured work hours. In our always on, constantly connected world, the lines between work and personal time have become increasingly blurred. And this, my friends, is a recipe for burnout. Sharita shared a story about the benefits of structured work hours on mental health. It's about a freelance graphic designer named Alex. Alex used to work whenever inspiration struck, which often meant late nights, skipped meals, and a completely erratic sleep schedule. Sure, he was productive in bursts, but he was also constantly stressed, always feeling like he should be working. Sound familiar? In our hustle culture, this kind of work pattern has almost become a badge of honor. But at what cost? Then Alex decided to experiment with structured work hours. He set clear start and end times for his workday, just like he would if he were going into an office. At first, it felt constraining, but soon Alex noticed something interesting happening. Knowing he had limited time to work actually made him more focused and productive during those hours. And when work time was over, he was able to truly relax and recharge, free from the guilt of feeling like he should be working. The impact on Alex's mental health was profound. His stress levels decreased, his sleep improved, and he found himself enjoying his work more. Plus, with clear boundaries between work and personal time, he was able to nurture his relationships and hobbies, leading to a more balanced and fulfilling life overall. This story beautifully illustrates how something as simple as structuring our time can have a massive impact on our mental well being. It's another example of how small, consistent changes can lead to significant improvements in our lives. It's like creating a container for our work so it doesn't spill over and flood every other aspect of our lives. Now, I want to take a moment to address something important. As we talk about these strategies for improving mental health, planting seeds of positivity, seeking professional help, establishing routines and boundaries, it's crucial to remember that everyone's journey is different. What works for one person might not work for another, and that's okay. We're not aiming for a one size fits all solution here. We're creating a toolkit, and you get to choose which tools work best for you. The goal isn't to follow these suggestions to the letter. The goal is to start thinking more actively about our mental health to make it a priority in our lives. It's about creating a toolbox of strategies that we can draw from when we need them. It's about becoming the gardener of your own mind, nurturing the thoughts and habits that help you grow and thrive. And here's the thing: this journey towards better mental health, it's not always going to be easy. There will be days when planting those three seeds feels impossible, days when the thought of reaching out for help seems overwhelming, days when sticking to a routine feels like the hardest thing in the world. And you know what? That's okay. That's normal. That's human. But here's what Sharita wants you to remember: progress isn't always linear. The important thing is that we keep trying, that we keep prioritizing our mental health, even when it's difficult, especially when it's difficult. Because here's the truth: you are worth the effort. Your mental health is worth the effort. And the impact of prioritizing your mental well being extends far beyond just you. When you take care of your mental health, you're better equipped to support others. You're more present in your relationships. You're more effective in your work. You become a positive force in your community. It's like dropping a pebble in a pond. The ripples extend far beyond the initial splash. So, as we wrap up this talk, I want to leave you with a challenge. For the next week, try planting those three seeds of positivity every day. Do something nice, say something nice, think something nice. It doesn't have to be big. Remember, we're talking small, consistent actions here. Maybe it's holding the door open for someone, complimenting a coworker's idea, or taking a moment to appreciate the beauty of a sunset. And if you've been considering seeking professional help for your mental health, but have been putting it off, take that step. Reach out. Make that appointment. Remember, seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's an act of self love and self care. You wouldn't hesitate to see a doctor for a broken bone. Give your mind the same respect and care. Lastly, take a look at your daily routine. Are there small changes you could make to better support your mental health? Maybe it's setting a consistent bedtime, or carving out 10 minutes for mindfulness each day, or establishing clearer boundaries between work and personal time. Remember, it's not about overhauling your entire life overnight. It's about small, consistent changes that add up over time. As we come to the end of our time together, I want you to imagine something with me. Picture a world where everyone planted these three seeds of positivity every day. A world where seeking help for mental health was as normal as going for a physical checkup. A world where we all prioritize our mental well-being and supported others in doing the same. That world isn't just a fantasy, it's a possibility. And it starts with each one of us right here, right now. It starts with the choices we make every day, the seeds we choose to plant, the help we choose to seek, the boundaries we choose to set. So I challenge you, be the change. Be the gardener of your own mind and help others tend to their mental gardens too. Share what you've learned today with someone else. Start conversations about mental health in your community. Break down stigmas. Offer support. Seek support when you need it. Remember, every great forest started with a single seed. Every mighty river began as a tiny trickle. And every mental health revolution starts with one person deciding to prioritize their well-being. You have the seeds in your hand. You have the power to transform not just your life, but the lives of those around you. The question is, what will you do with that power? What kind of garden will you grow? The choice is yours. The time is now. Let's cultivate a world of mental wellness, one seed at a time. Thank you.